Hey guys, it's Casey and welcome back to my channel and welcome to 7 p.m. on Thursday night, when I have for the first time in over 22 hours just walked in my front door because I arrived at work at 9 p.m. on Wednesday night. Now, some might accurately claim that that is a ridiculously long time to be spending in one's place of employment, and I am certainly not going to disagree with that statement, but unfortunately that's just reality when you are the senior most doctor at the world's worst hospital on the edge of the Australian outback, and so sometimes needs must, which kind of sucks because Thursday is typically my easy day of the week. It is the day in which I work 9 to 5 because I work 6 days a week, and Thursdays are my administration day. It is the day that I'm paid to basically just sit in an office and look over schedules and rosters and what needs to be ordered and complaints, and do we have enough doctors? Do we need to put advertisement out for more doctors? Do we need to get more funding? That kind of thing. So that was still my day today from 9 to 5 today, but I wasn't supposed to work last night. I just kind of got roped into working because one of our junior doctors quit without notice, which is another thing that is a very common occurrence around these areas. We have doctors disappear sometimes, we have nurses disappear, we have technicians who drop off the face of the planet, and those roles don't just cease to exist, they still need to be filled in. Which actually doesn't bother me at all because the medical system that I was raised under and was trained under, you lived at work, you were at work 24/7, there was no separation between life and work. I was literally born at work, and so in these kind of situations where my friends are already working 5 days a week, they're working 40 to 60 hours a week, I would prefer to be the one to step in and work overtime because that's normal for me, it's natural for me, it's what I'm used to. They are not used to that. They are used to having a certain degree of work-life balance where I am not. And so when these situations raise their ugly head, not only because I'm the most senior doctor there, but also because that's what I'm used to. I'm the one who fills in those gaps. And like I said, I have no problem in doing that. I had a shower at work before I left, hence why I am in my pajamas, visibly in my pajamas already, but that meant that I couldn't dry my hair properly, and so it is not in its best shape, but that's okay, we can run with that, it is nighttime. And then, to make matters worse, as if I hadn't been at the hospital long enough, the junior doctor, who is not the one who quit, but the one who also is working there at the moment, who was supposed to replace me, come in and take over my shift tonight, was an hour and a half late. And so that was just the icing on the cake. And then to make a bad situation even worse, I have been in a terrible mood all afternoon, and it's not for the reason that you might think. It's not because I've been stuck at work with no sleep for going on an entire solid day. No. It is because of the tomb of Cleopatra. Because I know beyond all reasonable doubt that Cleopatra and Mark Antony's tomb is in Cyrenaica, which is an ancient region of Libya. Okay? I know this as an objective fact, but I can't do anything with this information. Don't get me wrong, I have no strong desire, no pull or urge to run off to Western Africa and start digging up ancient artifacts in order to zone in on where this tomb is. That's not what I'm talking about here. That's not what is annoying me. What is annoying me is that if I did feel that pull towards the African subcontinent, I couldn't just go if I wanted to. I couldn't just run off and decide that I'm going to become an archaeologist overnight, because that's not how this world and this time and this place works. It's just not an option. It's not a financial constraint. I have got the financial means to go and do this. I literally just cannot do it. I do not have the political pull to go to Libya and do what needs doing. And that's what I hate about this, because I think about what I would do at home if I just woke up one day and said, hey, I want to become an archaeologist. I would go, I would talk to my husband, who would almost definitely say, that is an incredible idea, let's do it. We would spend a week or two planning our lives out so that we could go for 6, 7, 8 weeks in order to do this little adventure that we're on. But you can't do that here because you need to apply to universities. You need to apply to this place. You need to apply for a grant. You need to apply for a license in order to start digging things up that no one else is digging up. Nobody has fully excavated this region. It is very much untouched. I don't know why. It is a very interesting region with a lot of historical relevance, but nobody has touched it. Well, I do know why. It's because Libya has been in a civil war and has a lot of upheaval going on, and so no one wants to go there, so I can understand and appreciate that. But you know what I mean? It's just, you can't do anything here. Everything requires red tape. Everything requires political interference. Everything requires this. Everything requires that. You can't just get up and go do something because you feel like doing it. Which brings me full circle to a complaint that I know that I've made before on my channel, but alas, I'm going to make again for prosperity's sake. And that is that I do not, for the life of me, understand travel in the modern West. I don't understand people who do it. I don't understand people who want to do it, who waste money on it, what the appeal of it even is, because it is incredibly unappealing to me. I can think of very few things less appealing than getting on a plane to fly 26 hours with 3 stopovers in order to experience the exact same culture that I'm experiencing here, just with slightly worse weather, right? Because everywhere in the modern West is exactly the same. It doesn't matter if you're on Mount Everest. It doesn't matter if you're in Thailand. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of the Amazon. Everywhere is indistinguishable from Disney World in that everything is a LARP, everything is a performance, everything is inauthentic. They are putting on a show for you in order to extract as much money as humanly possible. And you are one customer of the 20,000 other customers that they're going to see this week for your authentic once-in-a-lifetime journey. Everyone else has done the exact same journey. What's authentic about it? What's enjoyable about it? Nothing. There is nothing enjoyable about it, and then you fly home again. $30,000 poorer, and you need another week of holiday just to recover from your holiday. I don't understand it at all. And I hate that people who make it their entire personality, and I have got a theory about this, and again, I've said it before, and it is a core belief of mine, and I will say it to him blue in the face, that people who feel the need to travel all the time and make it their entire personality and come back and feel that they are superior because they went to Rome and took a photo in the exact same place as 40 other thousand people that week did, they are inherently incredibly unhappy and dissatisfied in their personal life, and so they need to travel in order to feel something, because they feel nothing on a day-to-day basis. I've traveled a lot, more than I would have appreciated traveling since I've gotten to the modern West. And I would be incredibly happy to never travel again, because I just think it's an awful experience. It is not representative of what they think it is. I would prefer to go to Disney World. I honestly would prefer to go to Disney World, and I would prefer the company of Disney adults, because at least they're honest and self-aware enough to know what they're doing. People who travel all the time, they have no self-awareness. They're just insufferable, and I hate it so much. Anyway, the point that I'm making is that while I was at home, it would have been a thing. It would have been a lovely experience. You would have packed up, you would have taken the journey, you would have taken the path, you would have got the train, you would have got the boat, you would have done what you needed to do, and the journey there in and of itself would have been the experience. Once you got there, yes, that's lovely, you do what you need to do, but the journey there and the journey home was the experience, and that's what I think you lack, and I think that's what I really find distasteful about modern travel a lot, is that everything is discovered. You're not actually doing anything. You're not contributing anything. You are literally just being a burden on humanity. I think that's a bit harsh. I don't think it's a burden on humanity, but I think that you are a burden on your place of employment, 1. 2, I think you're a burden on the local infrastructure that you're going to, especially if you're going to places like Hawaii or places that are low in water and are drought-ridden, places like that. And like I said, I just find them annoying. I just don't want to hear about your travels and how worldly you are. There's nothing worldly about travel in the modern West. Get over yourself. So you may or may not be aware that for Nate's birthday in April, and Nate is my best friend / my nurse practitioner at the hospital for transparency's sake, but for his birthday in April, Ash brought him, I didn't buy him, Ash brought him a Ninja Ice Creamy, and ever since his birthday, every single Wednesday, he's been making me a pint of ice cream, and some of them are very interesting flavors. He makes me 2 flavors a week and puts them in a personalized pint for me, and I thought that it would make a good video to taste test what he made me this week. Now, I am already aware of what he made me this week because it's half eaten already, not by me, okay? I have not tasted it yet because that would be pointless to make this video if I had. But look at that. So he made macadamia ice cream with black Hawaiian. So it's going to be very, very interesting because those are 2 extreme tastes. Okay, so the ice cream's over there. It needs to sit for a few minutes in order to make it scoopable. But I realized that I never showed you what Nate got me for Mother's Day, which was a couple of weeks ago, because it only arrived on Monday this week. And so I thought, while we're waiting, I will show you what he got. First and foremost, he got me this bag, this one right here, which I adore because it's exactly the kind of bag that I would have used at home. So it is a handmade bag. It's lovely. I'm obsessed with it. It's got a zip, which these bags usually don't. So I am very happy to have this. Now at the moment, I haven't actually used it, so I'm thinking that tomorrow, I have a few things I'm going to do tomorrow. I want to go out and find things to put in the bag and fill the bag up. And also, I'm not sure if any of you have ever watched my video before has noticed, but I literally have got no decorations on my walls anywhere in my entire house. There is not a painting, there is not a picture, there is not so much as a little doodle anywhere on my walls. And so I also want to start looking around for things to fill up my walls because I don't have anything to do that. So as you can see, the little things come away and you can see the zip there. It's very nice. You can see that. Oh, she's very pretty. You can see that. You can see the stitching. It's very comfortable to wear over the shoulder. Inside at the moment is just the book that Nate brought me for tonight because when we don't have solid plans on a Thursday, he likes to drive out to the backpackers hostel, which is about a 4-hour drive away in order to get his dick wet, right? So he always feels sorry for me for some reason, as if I can't entertain myself, and he buys me activities when he leaves for the Thursday night. So he brought me for tonight, which I'm not going to read tonight, Yesteryear, which I'm happy to have. It was on my list. I don't need any more books. As I said in my last video, I now have every single book that has ever been written up into this point. And so I actually already have this book, I'm pretty sure, already, but not in physical form. So I'm happy to have it at least. I don't know when I'm going to get around to reading it. And then I don't think that these were for Mother's Day. I think he just saw them and thought that I would like them. But he got me these cups. So this one's got this one's got a little Dalmatian inside of it. And then this one, which has this wonky cat. So, again, I'm very happy to have those, even though they are a little bit random. But yeah, let's scoop some ice cream. Ground control to Major Tom. Commencing countdown, engines on. Okay. Cheers. My thoughts on the black Hawaiian and macadamia ice cream are as follows. I do think that Ash and David were very accurate in the description that the macadamia is very flavorless until you eat it directly following the black Hawaiian. Now, if you don't know what black Hawaiian is, don't worry. I will tell you. That's why you don't need to worry. Black Hawaiian is the darkest cocoa that you can find that has been mixed with coconut milk and then with activated charcoal. So it is a very intense, sometimes strong, very tropical flavor, as is macadamia, to be honest. It's also a very tropical flavor. But the macadamia does act as a very nice palate cleanser to follow on with the black Hawaiian. And so in that way, even though it tastes pretty much the same as vanilla when you eat it by itself, it is very clever and very strong once you try it after the black Hawaiian. And so I think that I'm going to rate this week's ice cream experiment a solid 7, which is better than I thought it was going to be. So there we go. I think I want to go to the movies. And I know what you're probably thinking, Casey, you live in the middle of nowhere. How are there movies? Well, it's not a regular cinema. If I took you, you would be able to see what I mean about that. Because it does not look like what you were thinking that a cinema looks like. But they only play movies very late at night. But I'm always scared to go on my own. Not because I'm scared that something's going to happen to me, but because I'm scared that my car's going to get broken into and stolen while I'm in there. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We might drive down there and see if I can get a park right out the front. And if we can, then we'll go to the movies. And would you look at that? I ended up getting Rockstar parking. So we did go to the movies in the bright lights. This is our local cinema. It's not a regular cinema. It's a cool cinema with a bar so you can get drunk watching whatever movie you want. I went and saw Passengers, which was not my first choice of film. My first choice was Obsession, but I knew that my friends wanted to see Obsession, and so I sustained. So we could go see it together, and I went and saw Passenger instead. I had no idea what it was about, but I had a fun time nonetheless. And as you can see, our local cinema is extraordinarily uniquely ornate, despite the fact that it is actually a 16-screen cinema, so it is huge. But that is partly because it only shows movies 4 times a day, Thursday through Sunday. The rest of the time it's used as our local conference center. And also partly because it's co-owned by Ronald, and I had the realization walking up these stairs that I think he also enjoys replicating home where we are. And this is his little way of doing it. It actually explains a lot about how our town functions, if that's what he's doing. And I can appreciate that a little bit, despite the fact that I hate the man, but it's like an IMAX screen. I can't complain. And then this was a couple of days ago in the future, not the same night. Me, Nate, and Ash went and saw Obsession. We got to see it in the executive suite that I've never been in before, and we had a lot of fun. I loved Obsession. Okay, in case you can't tell, I am home now. I am home from the cinema. It is 11:45, and let me tell you, that was the most stressful movie-going experience of my life. And not because of the content of the movie. The movie that I went and saw, in case you couldn't tell from the poster, was Passenger, and it was a perfectly adequate movie. I thought it was fine. I don't regret going to see it. It wasn't the best movie that I've ever seen, nor was it the worst movie that I've ever seen. It was a perfectly fine horror movie. There you go. That is my review of it. I don't think it was a jump scare movie, but it did it very well. That's all I really have to say on that. It was a little bit unique, a little bit not unique at the same time. I really, really wanted to go see Obsession, which started 20 minutes before this movie, but I know that Nate also wants to go and see Obsession, and I think that Ash might get a kick out of it, but unfortunately, like I said, Nate is out tonight 4 hours up the road, putting the sock on the door, and Ash requires at least 3 business days notice in order for him to stay out past 9 p.m. So this was too spontaneous a trip for that, and so I was on my lonesome, which I don't mind. I have no problem, A, going to the movies by myself, and B, going out at night by myself. That wasn't the problem. I don't know what the problem was on this specific evening, other than the fact that from the moment I walked into that cinema, something felt off, something felt wrong, and I couldn't put my finger on it the entire time that I was there. I almost got up twice in the middle of that movie and left, because I am not one to ignore those kind of feelings. I think that that is your intuition, your animal instincts picking up on something that isn't right in the environment, and it was screaming at me that entire movie to the point that I really couldn't enjoy the movie. Maybe I would have found it to be the best horror movie that I've ever seen in my entire life if I could actually get into it, but I could not get into it because my animal instincts, my animal brain was screaming, get out, get out, get out. So the moment that that movie ended, I'm talking the second the credits rolled, I was out of there. I got up and I ran to the door. I think I was out of the door in about 40 seconds flat, which is saying something because, as you saw, that is not a small complex. It is a very big complex with very slippery floors. I slip down the stairs in that cinema every time I go there because it's so old. It has very uneven steps and I always miss one. And I did it twice today alone, which, you know, I don't fall as in hit my head, but you slip, like when you slip on ice and you manage to catch your footing at the last moment, that kind of slipping that makes your heart like, whoo, come up in your throat a little bit. So I did that twice, but no, I was out of there. If I could have sprinted to the door, I would have sprinted to the door. But again, marble flooring, not the smartest idea. So yeah, I don't know what it was exactly that made me feel that way. I felt that way from the second I stepped in until the second I got in my car and locked the doors behind me. And again, I actually had rockstar parking. I was parked in the most perfect car park that you could get at that cinema. In the fact that there is no dedicated car park, it is a street-facing cinema. It is a street-facing facade. And so you have to park directly on the street in front of it. I had the best parking imaginable for it. So I was, like I said, I was out of that cinema and into my car in about 40 seconds flat. Would have been 30 seconds, but I had to wait for the girl to open the door because they lock the door at night because it's a very seedy area. So I don't know what it was, but it's not going to deter me. I am going to plan a trip for, again, me, Nate, Ash, and maybe Michelle if she's got the night off work, because she won't take a night off work to come with us to go see Obsession next Wednesday if it's still on. I think that we will enjoy that quite a bit, but yeah, I'm just happy to be home. I don't think I should have gone, but oh wow, you live and you learn.